Water is often seen as a symbol of calm and relaxation, but it's also the place where some of the most terrifying mysteries can unfold when all you're surrounded by is waves and darkness. In today's video, you'll hear 3 chilling true stories from a peaceful night of boating, turning into a strange rescue to a groan echoing across the pitch-black ocean, to a silent stalker following someone home from the bay. The people who lived through these stories never forgot. And after hearing them, you might think twice about your next boat ride. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready to step into the darkness. Story 1. The screams on the island and the figure by the lighthouse. There's nothing better in the sweltering heat of summer than drifting across the bay with friends. Kyle, the one with a 27-foot boat, was always the weekend MVP. That day there were 6 of us. The sky was clear, the wind was light, music was blasting, and the cooler was full of cold beer. After hours of cruising and hanging out at a beachside bar, Kyle steered the boat into the middle of the bay, a place where no lights could be seen, except the pale moonlight shimmering on the dark water. The boat floated quietly in the middle of the still night. We were laughing, drifting, and relaxing. As we passed an old lighthouse on a barrier island, something about it felt off. The lighthouse beacon, which should have rotated in a steady rhythm, was flickering erratically, like someone was sending a signal or calling for help. I drifted out of the group conversation, my eyes fixed on the lighthouse. And then I heard it. A scream. High-pitched, sharp, echoing through the darkness. I jumped up instantly. Turn off the music. I heard a scream. No one believed me at first. But as we turned off the speaker and listened, the sound came again. This time a woman's voice, clearly sobbing. "Help me, please." My heart pounded in my throat. The voice was coming from the small island just off the starboard side, an uninhabited patch of land covered in brush and rocks. We yelled back, "Where are you? I'm being followed on the island." No one hesitated. Kyle turned the boat and headed silently toward the island. As we approached the shore, we jumped onto the sand, each of us with a flashlight in hand. No one knew what we were looking for, only that the scream felt too real to ignore. I circled past some low trees and saw a figure in white glide past just a few feet in front of me. A woman. But when I aimed my flashlight, she was gone. Then a blood-curdling scream pierced the air from the other side of the island. We shouted to each other and bolted across barefoot branches, scratching at our legs. When we got there, nothing. But Kyle whispered, "I just heard a motor." Someone's boat just took off. We looked out over the water. The surface was choppy, like something had just disturbed it, leaving a fresh wake in the dark. I called 911 immediately. A Coast Guard vessel arrived about 20 minutes later. We told them everything: the screams, the figure, the fleeing boat. A search was launched. No one was arrested. No suspicious boat was ever found. No missing person was reported. Not a single news story came out the next day. We returned in silence. Even now, I can't explain what happened. That scream felt real. I saw that figure with my own eyes, and that lighthouse, still flickering out of rhythm, still stands there cold and silent, as if guarding a secret we were never meant to uncover. Story 2. The moan at sea and the nameless boat. This happened back in the 80s, a story my dad and Uncle Jack have told at nearly every family gathering since. It's haunted them for decades, and no matter how many times I hear it, it still gives me chills. Back then, Uncle Jack lived in Cape Cod and owned a large cabin boat, one of those old 2-level cruisers. The two of them would go out fishing all the time, tuna, cod, striped bass, sometimes venturing 20 miles offshore. That day the sea was calm, skies were clear. They left port in the afternoon, fished into the evening, and then went into the cabin, cracked open beers, and played cards like always. Then, it happened. The lights cut out. The entire boat went dark. No strange noise, just silence. Every single electrical system failed at once. Jack grabbed a flashlight and checked the fuse panel. Both main fuses were burnt out. No one knew why. No running lights. No GPS. No radio. They decided to stay put until morning, but around midnight, a sound came from the back of the boat. A moan. Long, wet, like someone letting out their last breath. My dad and Jack stepped onto the deck. It was so dark they couldn't tell if their eyes were open. Jack shone his flashlight over the water, but the beam barely cut a few feet into the blackness. The moan came again. Closer this time, then farther, then closer again. It moved, circling them. It wasn't a fish. It wasn't the waves. My dad swears it sounded exactly like a person groaning in pain. They rushed back inside and bolted the door. They didn't sleep a second that night. When the fog lifted the next morning, they spotted another boat, smaller, silver gray, drifting silently a few hundred feet away. No one on deck. Jack steered over, honked the horn, shouted. No reply. He tied off and climbed aboard. The cabin door was unlocked. Inside was a stench so foul he nearly gagged. And at the far end of the cabin, the hanging body of a man suspended from the ceiling by a rope. Jack stumbled back and vomited over the railing. My dad never even stepped inside. He only saw the horror in Jack's face. They marked the location and called the Coast Guard on the emergency channel. A rescue team arrived within the hour. But the strangest part wasn't the body. On the cluttered table amid beer cans and scattered papers was an old Polaroid photo. A picture of Uncle Jack's boat, taken from behind, at night. No one knew who took it. There were no cameras. No one else out there. And that moaning they heard, was it his? Or something else? Watching them from the dark story. 3. The stalker from the bay to the back door. I live with my family at the end of a private canal in Florida. Our house has its own dock surrounded by trees and a small marsh. It's peaceful during the day, but sometimes too quiet at night. My dad is a boat guy. He owns a 35-foot vessel, and my sister and I are allowed to use the jet skis whenever our parents are out of town, which is pretty often. That summer afternoon was scorching hot. My sister and I rowed out into the bay like we usually did. On our way back, while floating and taking a break, a small boat drifted toward us. There was a middle-aged man on board, big gut, holding a beer, clearly already drunk. He started chatting, asking about our jet skis, bragging about his big fancy house by the river. At first we were polite. Then suddenly he invited us to come swim in his pool with him. My sister and I exchanged looks. Something about his smile was wrong. She politely declined and started her engine. I followed, not looking back. We both let out a small laugh, the kind you use to shake off discomfort. We returned home, rowed through the canal, and started rinsing off the jet skis like always. That's when I saw it. The same boat, slowly approaching our dock. He stopped right in front of us, smiling the same creepy smile. Beautiful house. Great view, he said, eyes scanning our backyard. My sister stepped forward and asked directly, "What are you doing here? Are you following us?" He chuckled. "I live in the area, just curious how the canals connect." Then he turned his boat, slowly slid through the thick marsh and disappeared. We told our dad. He was not happy we forgot to snap a picture of the boat's registration. Still, we tried to move on. But that night, things got worse. Around 2 a.m., our dog started barking like crazy downstairs. I jumped up, heart racing, and ran to my window. It overlooks the backyard. And I saw a large figure sprint across the lawn, head straight for the dock, and dive into the canal. The splash was loud and clear, but when I opened the window to see better, nothing. My sister and I ran downstairs, turned on the backyard lights. No one. No sign. But we knew he had come back. The next morning, I checked the stairs leading to the dock. There was a crushed beer can. Same brand he was drinking. No one in the neighborhood had cameras facing the canal. No one saw a boat pass through that night. But since then, every time I go out on the water, I scan every passing boat, wondering if someone's eyes are watching me through tinted glass. Because when a stranger learns the way to your home, they don't always stop at one visit. Each of these stories is a chilling reminder that fear doesn't just live in forests, abandoned houses, or graveyards. Sometimes, it drifts quietly on the water. Strange noises, unfamiliar faces, and moments you can't explain. They often happen when you least expect them. If you've ever had a terrifying experience at sea on a boat or near the water, share your story in the comments. It just might be the next one told here. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next dark tide.